I'm happy about that. This is the funniest thing that I will ever learn about politics, which politics is so whack. Now, the killer of Kurt is a Mormon, a white boy that's very young, that he's a Trump supporter, and he's the one that shot Kurt. Now, the funny thing about it is that the Republicans wanted to be some transy uh type person with color hair and long fingernails, and they wanted to just blame the Democrats. And it's so funny what Trump and all the Republicans are thinking. like like I made like in my last video, like now they want to get on their knees and start praying for this guy that assassinated or shot Kirk. And it's funny because, like I said before, politics is trash. These people that are in office don't know jack crap. Like, now they want to support this guy that shot Kirk. Now, I have a picture up on my post that Donald Trump knew him. So he knew Kirk. So they were really good friends or whatever. And now they are finding now out that it's not an immigrant or it's not a Hispanic or a black. It's a white guy, a white 100% guy. That's a Mormon that shot and killed Kirk. And now the Republicans are scattering all over the place. It's so funny because how can you try to blame somebody else for doing something, but when you find out about the person that really had done it, now you're changing your mind of how you think this person is. Now you're blaming the devil for possessing this guy to shoot Kurt. And it's so funny because now you have all these Republicans running around trying to grasp like it's a white boy that shot this man, not an immigrant, not a Puerto Rican, not a black guy, not a gay person. It's a white guy, a white young man. And like I said, you have been seeing white 20-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds doing these mass shootings in this country, and nobody is fucking saying anything. Now it's being shown on TV that this white boy has killed Kurt. Now the Republicans are running around trying to pretend like it didn't happen. But they want to blame an immigrant so bad. They want to blame a Muslim so bad. They want to attack everybody the fuck else. But they find out that these white boys are walking around carrying semi-automatic rifles and taking pictures. And, it's not just that. You have been seeing it through the years of school shootings and mass shootings at Walmart or churches. And you're seeing white boys, young 16, 15, probably up to near 21 years old or 26 years old or maybe older, doing these mass shootings. And they still don't want to blame it on these kids. Parents that are taking pictures of these kids with these semi-automatics, writing on their posts, look at my son, he's having fun with a semi-automatic. Now, if it was a black person, if it was an immigrant, you know that CNN, Fox News, and all of them would have been tearing them up about their parents not raising them right. Why are they gang affiliated and all this other kind of stuff? But you see these white kids running around with guns now, worse than blacks, worse than any other culture. They don't want to say nothing. Like I said, this country want to be white so bad that they pretend like there's no other culture that exists, and these other cultures are allowed to do whatever they want. And when you turn around and you look at regular people that are trying to stay in the country, you see ICE chasing these people, throwing them to the ground, locking them up, taking away from their families, or stopping black people just because they want to, because racism still exists in America, which people are saying that it doesn't exist. Then you got every other culture like Spanish or maybe Japanese or Chinese, they're being stopped and beat on, and you see these white boys walking down the street with semi-automatics, they just let them walk right by. Oh, don't worry about it. You can carry that semi-automatic. Don't worry about it. Yeah, you got other couple of guns. Yeah, your father got some guns locked in his closet. Oh, you took the guns out of his closet, so you're walking around with it because you think that having a gun is your amendment. But these young kids, these are kids. These are 14, 15-year-olds walking around with guns, and you see it, and nobody fucking saying nothing. It's so funny that they're not saying anything, but they're protecting these white kids. It's funny that every other culture can't walk around with guns. Because even though you have the amendment, you're allowed, you're right to allow, you have the right to allow to carry. But if a black man walks down the street with a semi-automatic, he's going to get stopped by like 100 cops. But if a white boy walk down the street, he'll probably get stopped by one cop. Oh, why you have that? Oh, because I'm doing my right. Oh, cool. Go ahead. Go down and walk to that Walmart and shoot up that Walmart. No matter of fact, go down to that school and shoot up that school. These kids are white privileged kids. They're giving an opportunity to show how what they really are, what they're really thinking. Because, like I said, they are drawn into this politics bullshit, which I believe these kids should stay out of politics because they don't know nothing about politics. And now they're trying to support a president, or they're hating somebody else that don't like their president or don't like the Republicans, and now they're mad, and now they're going out there shooting everybody because they don't know nothing about politics. They don't know between right or leftists. They don't know nothing about that shit. So they just walk around mad because somebody don't like their president. Oh, you don't like Donald Trump? Take two to the head. Like, come on, man. It's bullshit that these kids can do that shit. But if we even talk about guns on motherfucking rap videos, we get persecuted. We get thrown to the ground. Oh, rap music is dangerous. But you got these kids listening to the same rap music that we listen to. White kids. So are you going to go after the white kids and tell them they need to stop listening to rap music? Or they need to stop playing Call of Duty? Or they need to stop playing Grand Theft Auto? Oh, no, you're not going to tell them that. You're not going to tell them to stop going online and playing these games that have gunplay on them, in which you can actually get all these different types of guns and semi-automatics. And these kids are learning how to build guns because their father is teaching them, or their uncle is teaching them, or their brother is teaching them, or their mother's taking them to a gun show to buy some guns because the mom believes that they have rights to carry. Which they do have rights to carry, but not at the age that they're supposed to carry, because a lot of these kids are carrying guns and don't even have a driver's license, or don't even have the right to even drink yet. But they're carrying semi-automatics around. These white kids going into these schools kicking in doors and start shooting up little kids for no fucking apparent reason. Because of what they saw on motherfucking CNN, on Fox News, because somebody say, oh, I don't like Donald Trump. Oh my God, you don't like Donald Trump? Click, click. Let me go up and shoot up a school real quick. This is what these kids do. They think this way. And their parents are pumping their head up by telling them the same motherfucking thing. If their parents don't like the fact that somebody don't like Donald Trump, their kids will hear that. Oh, my mom don't like the fact that somebody don't like Donald Trump. Let me go out there and just do what I want to do with my semi-automatic. Cops ain't going to stop me. I'm not going to get shot. I'm not going to get death penalty, which that kid should get the death penalty, but he's not going to get the death penalty. I understand. I might think that he might actually get pardoned by motherfucking Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump is that type of person to pardon people that are killers. Because he did that shit for January 6th, which I don't like bringing up because I still say that slaves built the Capitol building, so they should have destroyed that motherfucker. But they didn't do that because the people that were in there, they were hurting, that they even said that the president pardoned most of the motherfuckers that were injuring people in that building. You could tell that Trump is probably like, God damn, it's not an immigrant. Shit. Now what else do we need to do? Oh, we need to pardon this motherfucking kid, and we need to ship him off somewhere the fuck else, or we need to hide him or change his identity. That's what he's going to do. And it's so fucked up because regular people that live in this country that's trying to carry is going to be looked at differently now. Because even the cultures of black people or any other immigrant will be looked at that, damn, these kids are carrying guns. We need to lock them up. But these white kids are carrying guns. We don't need nothing to do with them. And it's fucked up because now, like I said before, now you got the Republicans scrambling everywhere because they didn't realize that somebody that was the same color as them shot what's his name in the neck. And honestly, that tried to kill fucking Trump was a white boy. And I can go on and on and on with all the white boys that try to kill people or did kill people and got locked up, but you never heard about them anymore. I remember when Donald Trump was golfing and that white man walked in with a semi-automatic, was going to shoot Donald Trump 5 feet away from him, and he got fucking arrested, and you never heard about that young boy. You never heard about that old head ever again. You will hear about a white boy bringing a gun somewhere, but you will never hear anything about them anymore unless they were talking about an immigrant or a black man having a gun, and they will just like they will just run it to the fucking ground. They will run that shit to the ground. If it was a kid that was 16 years old, that was a black kid in the gang, oh, we need to arrest them kids that were carrying them guns. 5 black kids. Let's arrest all of them. And let's show them on TV a million times to show how bad they are. But you got this white kid walking down the street like they did during the pandemic when that white kid was walking down the fucking street with a semi-automatic and shot the people. And you know what they did? They allowed them to walk down the street with a semi-automatic. White boy. During the pandemic. And he fucking never got locked up for it. That's the fucking thing about it. Is like, what is going on with this country? They really, really, really think that this culture of children that are growing up are not bad. Like my culture of children when I was growing up, because I'm a Generation X. So when you see my culture, you know that didn't fucking happen. Yes, we had gang shootings. Yes, we had a lot of violence back in the 90s. But that shit put us in jail. That put us on death row. Nowadays, these kids can do anything they fucking want and get pardoned by the president of the United States or by their state or by their government. They could get pardoned. And these kids won't get time in jail. They'll do it at the age of 16 and get out by the age of 21. And they're back on the streets again with the same mindset of carrying a semi-automatic around and probably shooting up a school again because that never left their mind because they're still trying to figure out politics or they're trying to get themselves into politics to try to figure out why nobody likes anybody they voted for. Which kids can't vote at the fucking age of 16. So I still don't understand how these kids will go out there and shoot up people because somebody don't like their president. And they can't even fucking vote. But their parents are the ones that are blabbing on, oh my God, how can they not like Donald Trump? Oh my God, Donald Trump is such a great president. He did so much for the country for the last 2 terms that he was in here. And these kids hear that shit. These kids are probably sitting around. My mom don't like that shit. Man, I'm going to do something for my mom because it's not fair that somebody doesn't like my president. And then they'll go out there and just do the most dumbest shit. And these kids get away for it. And people say, well, it's all kids. No, it's the privileged kids that are out there that their skin color's lighter than mine, and they're sitting up there with these semi-automatic guns, and they're taking pictures too, and putting it on Facebook, putting on all these outlets, and showing that they have something to protect themselves with. Or they say, well, I got the double Glock, or I got the, I got the Smith & Wesson, I got this shit. They say that, and I'm sitting up there looking at these kids like, what the fuck? Do they know that they're watching them? But they do get watched, but the government don't fucking care, because the only thing they care about is immigrants. And all they care about is locking up blacks. All they care about is going after the people they fear that are not desirables. They're going after the homeless. They're locking up people that don't make any fucking sense. By these little white boys are walking around with guns. And I'm not saying every white boy, because every white boy will look at a gun and say, hell no, I ain't doing that shit. I ain't going to jail. Because I don't know how people like jail. I don't understand. How do you like fucking jail? Why do you want to go to jail? And they having trouble with the immigrants all walking around here, sitting up there afraid of being locked up because they're being turned around and looked at as people that are violent. Now you're seeing that these white boys are violent. These white young kids are violent. And they're walking around with these guns. These big, humongous military fucking arsenals they're walking around with that they're ordering on the dark web or even the deep web. They are ordering these things, or their parents are getting into these gun shows. They take their kids at 15, 14, 13 years old to these gun shows, and they buy them guns. But they say, oh, you can't use your gun until you're 21, baby, so I'm going to lock them up. But the kids know that gun is there, and they get a key to the gun case, so they can open up the gun case anytime fucking and look at their guns, or they can have their guns in their room. Because I watched videos that kids that had guns in their room and had a set like on their wall with rifles on there. And I'm like, these kids can do that shit? The cops will kick in a black kid's door if they saw them with guns on fucking TV or on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. They will kick their fucking door in. And then they will fucking do a raid. And the father will get locked up, or the mother will get locked up, or the mother will have to pay a fine, the father will have to pay a fine, but the kid will go to jail and probably be to jail probably for 20 or 30 years. But you got these white kids have guns in their room, sitting up against their wall, sitting up against their window, and cops will kick in the door and won't. Oh, we got a couple of guns in here. Let's take these guns. We're going to give these kids a fine. Yeah, we'll probably lock them up for a few days, but they'll be back on the street again. Like, see, that's some fucked up shit. This is the reason why I believe this country is still racist and it will always be racist. And this has been going on ever since the 70s, when the Black Panthers used to be out there with their semi-automatics and rifles and standing in front of public buildings. And they will always ask them why they're doing it. We say, well, we have the right to carry. But if a black man shoots somebody, it's a big thing. But if a white kid shoots somebody, it's not a big thing. We'll just lock him up, let him do 10 years or 5 years and probably juvenile, and we'll set him free. But we're going to try to change his life around by letting him go to see people that can help him, psychiatrists and shit like that. It's fucking crazy, and the parents probably will never get in fucking trouble. They probably will pay a little fine, or they'll probably do a little bit of jail time. But that's not going to stop their children from having guns, because they're going to get the gun again. Because white kids can get guns better than black kids can get guns. And I believe that white people have more guns than blacks. And it's been going on for at least about 200 years, when blacks couldn't even carry weapons, couldn't even work in the police department and carry weapons. So when blacks started getting guns, they started getting them for protection. Then gangs started coming around. So that's the reason why blacks will have more guns. But they said white people have more guns than blacks. There's more guns in the United States than people. And the fucked up thing about it is you start to see a lot of these younger generation packing, and they don't care. It could be black, white, Puerto Rican, but you're seeing it more with white kids, because white kids are so lost. And I believe because of the pandemic that really fucked these kids up, because they couldn't be around their friends, they couldn't be around their parents, they couldn't be around their girlfriends or boyfriends, and they got fucked up. See, black people, we can be alone. We don't care about being alone. We have our PlayStation and we just stay at home all day and just play our PlayStation and probably talk to a chick on the phone and probably sneak over to a chick crib, or a chick with chick roll over to a nigga crib during the pandemic. Don't even care about the pandemic. But see, the kids, white kids and white parents would keep their kids in the fucking house and don't let their kids leave. And they'll separate them to let them play Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, and all these other violent video games. And when they play these violent video games, they get thoughts in their heads like, damn, I wish I could carry a semi-automatic. Mom, can you get me a semi-automatic? Sure, son. There's a gun show starting next week. I can take you. Or, Dad, can I go to the gun store with you? Sure. Come to the you can come to the gun store with me. Can they take their kids to the gun store? Like, they take their kids just because they want to show that they can carry a gun. Why? Because nowadays, you see how violent the United States is. Now, it doesn't have to do with no immigrants. They can't blame immigrants now. They can't blame them. Because I really thought they were looking for an immigrant or looking for somebody that has this colored skin, and they can blame them because that's what they want. They want to try to prove that immigrants are violent. But they know that immigrants do less violence than Americans do. Because of all the violence that America's been doing for over nearly 200 fucking years, you take an immigrant, you could just cut that down to a small little piece of what immigrants have done to the United States ever since the white man even came to this country and took over for the Native Americans. So I'm not saying all white people are bad, because they're not, because there's some good white motherfuckers out there. I love white people, because white people, they have a sense of thinking sometimes. But the ones that are the idiots are the ones that are being shown on TV. And those are the ones that should be locked up. Those are the ones should be locked up and thrown away the key. But they're not going to ever get locked up and thrown away the key, because this president of the United States is not going to do that. Because he believes that if he locks up white people, it's going to look bad on him. So he's not going to lock up white people. He's going to lock them up. Yes, that young boy is going to get locked up, but he's not going to get locked up. He's probably gonna be sent to federal prison, but he's gonna be treated like a Mormon. He's gonna be treated like he didn't do anything wrong. And that's the fucking crazy about it. I believe Donald Trump is gonna pardon his kid. People up there talking about, oh, we feel sorry for this kid. Oh my God, this kid. They're showing pictures of him with his family, and he's happy, and he's at church. Why the fuck? This is the reason why I hate this country sometimes, because we show people happy knowing they're miserable. And we always try to make that these kids are doing so well and so great in life that we have to show the good side of them. But then we start seeing the bad side of them. They want to erase that and don't want to talk about that. And that's what this country does. This country goes after the people. Oh, we need to talk bad about this black kid. This black kid did all this crime and all this crime. Look how thick his crime book is. But a white kid, oh, he had some crime, but we're not going to talk about him too much because we could change him. We can take him to therapy. Probably in a few years, he'll be back on the street and he'll be rehabilitated. No! Lock his ass up. Treat him just like you would treat the immigrants and the blacks. Do that. But you're not going to do that. This country is built on hate, dog. This country is built so much on fucking hate. And we are such hypocrites. This is a hypocritic country. And I'm telling you, the president of the United States and all the Republicans are hypocrites. They want you to believe that this country is terribly overrun by immigrants and terribly overrun by crime by blacks and many other cultures. But you're not seeing that shit. Now they are trying to say, now we got to take, from Senegal to Chicago, now we got to go to Memphis and bring the police to Memphis and bring the military to Memphis because Memphis is a bad motherfucking place to live. The whole country is a bad place to live. The fuck you talking about? This country has always been terrible. Crime has been high in this country long before Donald Trump even became president. And all the other sitting presidents try to control the crime. But you can't. This really, honestly, crime makes money in this country. Without crimes, you don't have prisons. I mean, you need crime to have prisons. You need crime to have police. You need crime to promote the private prisons. You need crime. You need drugs. You need that shit in this country because that's what makes the fucking country money. If you don't have any of this shit, this country's going to be fucking broke. Which this country is becoming broke because Donald Trump want to go and try to take everything from everybody and think, hey, why don't I go after the drug cartel? Why don't I go after the criminals? Knowing that that makes money. Because now this country is going to be trying to like, goddamn, we don't need police no more because crime is low. But people say we want to go out in the street. You can still go out in the fucking street. People live everywhere is not a crime syndicate. So everybody has places they can go out there and walk around and talk on their porch. There's no shooting, there's no crime. But they're making that shit the fuck up because they want to blame immigrants. And this is what this country has been doing for decades. Regardless if you don't like my video, if you don't want to listen to my video, I don't give a fuck. Because y'all know it's fucking true. A lot of these people out there know that this post is fucking true. It is so sad to see that crime is doing, really honestly, crime is getting worse. And you're seeing the people that are doing crime right in front of your face and you don't want to fucking say nothing. You want to protect them. But you won't protect the other people that are out there. They're sitting there like, God damn, like, what the fuck? Am I going to get arrested for being not of this country? Or I'm going to get arrested or being in this country? Or I'm going to be arrested because of my color of my skin, or I'm going to be arrested for me just speaking my mind. You know, like I said, you can't do that in other countries. You couldn't do that under Putin regime. You couldn't do that Jong-un. You can't do that. But in this country, you can. And people don't want to speak up anymore. People want to be fucking quiet. People are afraid of this motherfucking president, which you should be afraid of a man that really honestly wears a fucking diaper. Like, you can't be afraid of this man. This man has no real power. His mind is all fixed on non-reality. This man makes up shit as he goes, and his cabinet follows right behind him because they are afraid that he's going to take things from them. Now, if he passes away, it's going to be another president that's probably going to be a little bit easier to control, which is going to be Vince. He's going to be a little easier to control. And probably the Republicans will probably calm the fuck down because they don't have to worry about somebody taking something from them. And maybe the Republicans might turn their head and say, you know what? We need to stop doing a lot of this dumb shit and try to help people. But right now, Donald Trump is still here. So that's the reason why a lot of people are afraid of that motherfucker, because he can take things from you. He fires everybody he gets an opportunity to fire. But I believe that this kid, whoever he is, because I don't know who he is, because I gotta look up on him. He needs to go to jail. He killed somebody. Now, all this Mormon bullshit, all this religion bullshit, I'm getting sick and tired of hearing about religion. Religion is trash. It's all made the fuck up. Why are people worried about religion? The young man, was a grown man, shot and killed somebody. Religion shit has nothing to do with that. Not the devil, not God, not Jesus. It has nothing to do with him pulling that fucking trigger. He pulled that trigger because he wanted to kill that man. And he killed that man. Now he should go to jail for it. It should be no, oh my God, we need to pray for him. No, he needs to go to fucking jail. Like any other normal motherfucker that kills somebody needs to go to fucking jail. And I don't know if he has priors. Maybe he never have a history. Maybe he never been locked up. Maybe he might have an opportunity to do like 30 years and then get the fuck out. But why are you letting these white kids carry guns around like it's nothing? It's nothing, but you're going after fucking immigrants. Oh, they need to be here legally. Okay, but these kids that are carrying guns are not carrying guns legally because their parents are the ones that are owning the gun, but their children are allowed to have it in their room. Now, all of a sudden, when they turn 21, yeah, the gun can be passed over to the child because he's older, but he still can't carry a gun because he's illegal to carry. How can you carry a gun, but you can't get your driver's license and you can't drink? And you can't even go into the military. So how the hell you can carry a gun? How can a 16-year-old carry a gun when he can't get in the military, he can't drink, he can't drive a car, or he can't really do anything? It's like he's still a child. But they say, hey, you can have a gun. Here you go. Make sure you carry that gun with a passion. Okay, mom, I'm gonna go to that school, shoot. I'm gonna go to that school, shoot at the school. Great, son. Next thing you know, this little kid is shooting up a school. Like they did down in Texas, where that little young boy shot up all the fucking kids while the cops just stood there and just hear him shooting up them kids. Didn't do a goddamn thing. And mostly colleges, and mostly they had to shut down all the black schools because they got bomb threats or they got death threats. See, this is what I'm fucking talking about. This is from white people. These are for the white young boys that be calling these schools, telling them they're going to blow up a black school. But what happened to them kids? Nothing. You can't find them because they're pranking or they're doing it for fun because they now have the power. And it's fucked up that this younger generation of white kids think they have power because of their parents voting for somebody that's an idiot. But they think that's God. He's a king. We must follow him. No. These kids need to get back into school, get an education, and graduate, get married, have kids, and die. That's it. You don't need to be going to those schools and threatening people with a gun. You shouldn't be going to Walmart. You shouldn't be going into a movie theater. You shouldn't be going into a mall. Why are you doing that? What are you proving? You want to go to jail for the rest of your life because your mom and dad hate the fact that somebody don't like Donald Trump. And you're hearing it from your mom because your mom is yelling at the TV, or your dad is mad, calling a TV show and arguing with somebody that is asking you a question about why do you like Donald Trump? Oh, Donald Trump is not doing nothing. And then that father's getting in an argument, getting mad, but the son is sitting there trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. His mind is racing. Oh my God, I don't believe my parents are going through this shit. We voted for the greatest president of all time. Now I gotta go out there and prove myself that I'm dedicated with the Republican Party, or I'm dedicated to this president, and I'm only 14 fucking years old. But my mom got me a semi-automatic, so I'm gonna pump that up, put some tape on it. I'm gonna change the front trigger to it to make it actually shoot automatic. I'm gonna do all these things to protect my family from nothing. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like, people judge you on the way you speak, but they don't judge you on what's going on out there in the world, because everybody can see what I see. People are not blinded. You can see what I see every fucking day. You can see the violence that is going on in America. But people are so blind that they believe that the country is not violent. They believe that they can change, that these presidents and these governments can change the country with a snap of a finger as soon as they walk into office. And it's not even like that. Even the presidents that from the first president till now couldn't change the country and make the country great. Even the 1900s is probably when the country was actually great because everything was about money and about factories and about everything else that was being built during that time. But now it's not like that. Everything is about hatred, racism, you know, um, people don't like somebody else because they're not from this country or they are making money in this country and they're sending it back to their families or they're trying to get into the country, but it's taking so long, taking about 7 or 10 years to get into the country because of the way the procedure is and motherfucking trying to get a green card, which they do that shit on purpose so they can arrest people for no apparent reason to ship them back to their country because they want to just do that. It's fucking retarded and ridiculous that they have to wait so long to get a green card. Like some people have to get married to actually get a green card and pay the person to help them get a green card a lot faster by getting married. It's so fucked up that the American motherfucking immigration is so dumb. You should be able to get into this country. You should be able to come here and work. Honestly, we should be allowing immigrants in because, like I said, the Mexicans used to own this fucking country. So why the fuck they can't come in here? Why you build a wall to keep them out? Because they wanted to buy Texas back, but you don't want to give them Texas back. So you close off the border to say the border is bad, and corrupted, and full of people coming in, like 5 million immigrants. So that's like a lot less than the people that are already in this country, which is 300 something million people. So where are these immigrants staying? Where are these 500 million? Where were these 5 million immigrants staying? Knowing this country is a huge country, but we only have 300 something people living in this country. Where are you at? Where are they at? And why can't they work? Why can't they make money? Why can't they help make this country great? Because the people that are already living in this country are not working and not trying to make this country great. You see, after the pandemic, how lazy people gotten after the pandemic. This country got so fucked up after the pandemic. Look at it. What is so great about this country after the pandemic? What's so great about it? Jobs are lost. We got a president that don't know how to fucking do anything. We got a government that's fucked up. We got people that are killing each other, fighting over a fucking man. Like, it's crazy. I've never seen anybody fight over a man that's a president. I've never seen that before. Like all the other presidents in the past, you never see that shit. Now you fighting over this president. You want this president to be great, but he's not. His views are really low. He's not a great person. And people already knows this shit, and they still put this man in office because they are afraid of a woman. That's the fucking crazy part. They were afraid of a woman being in office, not just one, but two of them. They kept them out of being in office because they wanted a man to run the country because a man was fearless. What kind of fearless that Donald Trump has because he can speak? That man is not a fearless person. He's afraid of every fucking body. You can see what he's doing by cutting off everybody, raising tariffs on everybody, because he's afraid of everybody. He's afraid of Putin. He's afraid of Jong-un. He's afraid of the president of Japan. He is afraid of all the world leaders. He's afraid. He don't know what the fuck to do or what to say. He just runs his mouth like any other motherfucker will be sit there and keep their mouth shut. This motherfucker keep running his mouth. But Putin is up there quiet like, oh, this motherfucker dickhead. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use the shit out of this motherfucker. So Putin is using the shit out of Donald Trump to try to get Ukraine. And if he wins Ukraine, he's not giving nothing to motherfucking Donald Trump. Remember, like I said before, Donald Trump don't understand what Ukraine and Russia has been going through for decades. Like I said, Ukraine was owned by Russia at one point when Stalin was alive until Hitler invaded and took Ukraine from Stalin and took Russia from Stalin. They used to own Ukraine. Putin wants the minerals. Putin don't want the minerals. Putin wants fucking NATO to stay out their fucking business. But the United States have this urge to be in everybody's fucking business. That's what the United States does. The United States don't care about helping no fucking body. They want something. They want something from that country. If they see somebody in a war, they want to be there because they want part of something of that country. That's what the United States always has been doing. They don't care about protecting Ukraine. They don't give a fuck. Like Palestine and Israel. The United States don't give a fuck about them. Like Gaza. The United States don't give a fuck about them. They want something. They probably want oil. They probably want minerals. They probably want something in that country. So they just like sneaks over there and say, we'll help you. No, they don't care. The United States don't care. That's why they go into Africa and take anything they fucking wanted from Africa. That's why they fucking put their motherfucking oil wells and drills all over the fucking coast of Africa to take all their fucking oil and their minerals and their gold and their diamonds. And they actually practically own Africa. Africa's probably the largest country in the world. Why? That's everything, minerals, it's everything there. So people will go down there and try to say, you know what, we need to get rid of the terrorism in here. No, but it's no terrorists. They just blow up everything so they can get the oil. That's what the United States does. They're in everybody's business. They won't stay out of nobody's business. This is what America been doing for a long period. And even when they were in Europe, they used to do that shit. Before they came over here to the United States, the Europeans came over here to the United States, they used to go there in Europe and took the religion of Christianity to go invade every single part of the fucking country. And then after they got the fucking plague, they moved out of there to come to the United States and take the people that were already here and poison them, give them motherfucking smallpox and kill them off. Then they brought the Africans over here, and then they said this country's ours. No one was owned by somebody else. And to take the Mexicans and invade Mexico, take Mexico from the Mexicans, Texas, California, and take that from them, and then build a border wall to keep them out. The United States is always in everybody's business. They hate that you see another power or somebody else has something more to them they want to take or they want to be involved like they really care. The United States don't care. The president, the government don't care about other countries. The Republicans and Democrats don't care. Long as they get what they can get out of that country. And they can just squeeze that country dry. They did it by stealing gold from every fucking body. That's why this country is rich in gold. Because they stole gold from every fucking body. That's why they got big in diamonds. Because they went over there to Africa and stole all the motherfucking diamonds. And forced black people to work in them diamond mines. Not just black people, many other cultures to work in the diamond mines of Africa. And not just Africa, and also in India. They were snatching up people. Forcing them to work slave labor to dig up diamonds and gold. And bring it back to the United States. That's why they went to that big gold rush. Because the United States really honestly didn't have that much gold. So they closed up all the mines and they started going back to Africa and stealing their shit. Or they'll go to Iraq or Iran, say it's terrorists over there, bomb up them and tell them, oh, they got terrorists over there, so we need to be afraid of terrorists. The United States got the biggest terrorists in their own fucking country. And it's the people that fucking live here. But nobody fucking cares. The United States don't care. The people of this country don't care. Because the only thing we do is blame everybody the fuck else about the misery that we're going through in our own fucking country. And the things that we do wrong in our own fucking country, we blame everybody the fuck else. We gotta blame the immigrants. We gotta blame the blacks. We gotta blame all the people that come here that want to work and make money and make businesses. We gotta blame them too, because the people that live in this country don't want to work. Don't want to make no money. Don't want to start their own businesses. They want to be online all the time, trying to make money off of people's depression and stress and people that are going through shit like this killing of Clark and all the many other shootings. People have to make these videos. They make money off of this shit. They have to make money because there's no other way to make money besides make money off of other people's misery. This has been going on the internet for a very long time. And people were saying, oh, we're just trying to help. No, you're not. You're making money off of these people. These people are dying. These people are sick. Or we gotta, and you gotta make the money off the president. You gotta make money off of Trump because Trump is good money. You see people making money off of Trump. They're making these long-ass, drawn-ass videos about how much they hate Trump. And how they hate the government and how the government's taking all shit. This was going to happen regardless. The United States opened up the door for this shit. The people that voted for these motherfuckers already knew that all this shit was going to happen. So they opened up the door for the president to come walking through. And everybody knew that he was going to take shit from everybody. But this is the perfect way to make videos about people, about these presidents and governments taking things from people. So now everybody knows what's going on. Now everybody got to make a video about it. It's sad. because we're the ones that's being drawn into this bullshit. And this country been going through this for a very long fucking time. It's not just this president, it's many other presidents that really actually did the same exact thing as Donald Trump, but not as big as Donald Trump. Try to take away things from black people, or take away things from immigrants because they feel that immigrants don't need to be here because they're illegal. But like I said before, who was illegal first when they came to this country? It wasn't the Native Americans and it wasn't blacks. But like I said before, and I'm gonna say this for the last time, black people are the only race that's still lost. We are so lost because we don't know what to do with ourselves and who to vote for, who to go out there and make a positive leader like we used to do when we were great at finding leaders. But now we're not because the younger generation is being brought into politics. And that's destroying the older generation to actually figure out what president they want. Because this newer generation think everything has to be about with your chest out and being tough. And that's not what a president is supposed to be. You're supposed to be tough to probably defend your country from other, people trying to attack your country. But for the people that you're protecting, which is your citizens, these kids don't understand that. These kids don't understand that these presidents and these governors need to protect the citizens of this country. Because number one, it's not the president or the government that really runs this country. It's supposed to be we the people. The citizens are supposed to be the bosses of these governments and presidents. But it's turning around like Donald Trump is the boss. And everybody's following behind him. I'm trying to tell you, in a couple of years, this country is going to be terrible. And I'm blaming every single citizen in this country because we're not like other countries that are going out there and kicking in the door and snatching their motherfucking government and their president out their fucking homes and dragging them in the fucking street. And it's just fucking true. We're not like that. We're just watching our country fall apart, and I believe we're enjoying it. We are enjoying that our country is falling apart because we can make videos about it and make money off of this shit. Because that's all we're doing is making money off of this shit. We're not actually doing anything. We're going out there protesting for like 5 minutes about somebody that we don't like. Everybody don't like Donald Trump. They're going to protest. People around the world don't even like Donald Trump, and they're protesting. But that's all we're getting. Every other country around the world's not trying to realize why the United States is not actually doing something. Why is the citizens not doing anything? Why are we just sitting up here protesting with motherfucking get Donald Trump out? Are you serious? He can never be. He could be impeached again, but that's not until probably a couple of years from now. Probably on this last term, but he probably might be around by then. And then you got Vance coming up. It's crazy. This country is so fucking confused. It's like this country is lost, dog. It's like this country is. So I watch the people in this country and all these videos and how they talk. They are so lost because they don't know what to do with themselves because we don't have no promise of getting anything done to get this motherfucker out of office. Or we keep him in office. We don't stand up for ourselves. That a citizen should do by being in this country is standing up for themselves like other countries do when they see their president acting fucking stupid or their president is against the citizen. They be like, we ain't having this shit. Yo, go knock on that motherfucker president door. They be banging down that door, dragging that motherfucker out like they did Mussolini. When they dragged Mussolini out of his motherfucking home and they hung that motherfucker, they walked down the street with that motherfucker. That's what they did in other countries. Not just that. I remember a couple of years ago that they had a protest in another country. They actually was going to the motherfucking house where their government was, so they could go after the person that was in the government. But they were kept away by a wall. But they tried to tear that fucking wall down to get to that motherfucking governor. The governor. They wasn't afraid. Other people in other countries are not afraid to stand up to their government or to their president. The United States people are. Because we are afraid that things are going to be taken away from us. Like our checks, our jobs. We are afraid of that. That's why we bend on our knee and pray to God that this president is not going to do the same as any other president around the world. But this president is doing exactly what he wants to do. And we ain't doing shit about it. But making videos and making money off of it. Thinking that will help us. No, we're not doing anything by going out there and actually standing up for ourselves as a country together, all together. 300 and something million people standing together against one man, which that can happen, but we don't do that shit. We just sit there and just, oh, don't worry about it. We let Donald Trump do anything he fucking want. You know, he'll take everything from us. And we're just gonna allow it to happen. While other countries, that will never fucking happen. You think the motherfuckers overseas will allow them to take their fucking food stamps away? Hell no, they be out there trying to snatch that motherfucker president out of office. But we just sit there and say, "Oh, go ahead, Donald Trump. In 2 years, in 27, in 2027, we're not going to have food stamps anymore. We're not going to have any type of health care. In 2 years, in fucking 2 years, he's going to take that shit from us because we got to go to work. Now you got people out there. Oh yeah, you should work. You should work, motherfucker. Who the fuck is working? You talk about because you got a job and you're making good money, that means you're not gonna lose your job. You can lose your job like anybody else can fucking lose their job. And you'll be out there doing the same thing, asking why you don't have food stamps, health care, child care, or any type of care that will help you through your life. And you're gonna be just like the motherfuckers you were saying, oh well, some motherfuckers should be over there working. Some motherfuckers should be out there having a job. I'm glad they're taking away food stamps because you know why? You think that you're never gonna lose your fucking job. And I tell people, you can lose your job faster as you get it. Because they can hire somebody younger than you, a lot smarter than you, or maybe not even a lot smarter than you. It's just they can hire somebody younger than you because you're old and you're not even obsolete anymore because technology is way different and that person knows more about technology than you do. And you sitting up there using a presser, but they just changed the presser to something else, but you don't know nothing about that presser. They'll get a young boy or a young woman to come in that knows everything about using that presser and they fire you. Now you're on a fucking unemployment line looking for a fucking job and you're bitching complaining about, oh, my kids don't have food stamps. My kids don't have good health plan because you thought you were going to keep your job for the rest of your life because you sat there and talked bad about somebody else because somebody's sick and they can't work. Now you are begging to get back in a job, which you won't be able to find the same job that you used to have because, like I said, the younger generation is getting hired and the older generation is getting pushed the fuck out. But you see a lot of older generation trying to go back to school and try to get all this fucking education for some fucking reason. I don't know why that this older generation is trying to go back to school to get all this technology because they want to work in the computer field, knowing that computers been out ever since ever since the 1960s or the 1920s, but the internet has been out for only 30 fucking years. But people want to go run out and say, "Oh, now I want to learn how to use a computer," because I could get fired because that young kid over there knows more about the computer than me. I don't even know how to download shit. You got kids that are being hired to download shit, and the older person don't even know how to download. And they lose their job, and now they're mad at a younger generational kid gets the job because they know how to download a computer, but you don't know how to. Now you're on an unemployment line trying to figure out getting a job or trying to find a place to live or get food stamps or medical. That's the reason why I can't stand this. I can't stand people when they sit there and talk bad about people, knowing that you could end up the same way. You believe in God, right? What did God say? God can take it, He can give it, He can take it. These employment lines, they could take your job with a snap of a finger and not even think one motherfucking reason why they take it. Oh, okay. This guy right here is 21 years old. He knows how to use a forklift. She don't know how to use a forklift. I'm gonna hire this motherfucker because they know how to use a forklift. Oh, I'm sorry, I gotta fire you because you have never had no fucking forklift license. You don't have no way of learning how to use a forklift. Oh, yes, I can. No, no, you've been here for years. You should learn how to use a forklift. We gotta let you go. We're gonna hire this kid. He only been using a forklift for a year, but that's good for us. We can pay him less money and blah blah blah. Sorry, we gotta let you go. But I don't have a job and I can't. I would never ever find a job like this. Of course, you're never gonna find a job like this because everybody think they can find the same motherfucking job they had for 20 fucking years, and knowing that's not possible because, like I said, jobs change, and the younger generation are getting hired, and the older generation are getting kicked out. But the older generation is always the one complaining about people working. Oh, why is he not working? He can work, motherfucker. Why you worried about that motherfucker? You should be worried about your own job. You should be worried about you, not worried about that person over there that's sick. Because you could lose your job just like that person And you're going to be forced to have your food stamps and everything taken away from you, and your medical and everything taken away from your fucking kids, which that's in 2 years. So watch how bad you talk about people. Because, like I said, you could have a great job. I always used to tell my sister, you could have this job being the head of all the companies, but you could lose that job with a snap of a finger and you're on an unemployment line because they can hire somebody younger than you that has no experience, and they can give them that job because they feel that you're old and they need something young and fresh, and they fire your ass. Now you're on the unemployment line looking for the job that you had for 30 years that you know you ain't gonna find. I'm sick and tired of people talking bad about people. Like, especially the people that always talk about, oh my God, why is this person not working? Somebody should give these people jobs because they can work. Motherfucker, everybody can work. But the thing about it is some people can't because some people are sick. You'll never know because you don't know nothing about them. But you should be worried about yourself because you could lose your job of a snap of a finger, and you could be on the unemployment line, and you could be bitching just like making these videos about how you can't find a job and how they took your food stamps away and how they took your medical away in 2 years. I'm sick of it. I'm just sick and tired of it. This is the year 2025, man. And the way this country is falling apart, we ain't doing shit except sitting here complaining, and not doing nothing about it. The president of the United States is laughing. Other countries around the world is laughing. You think the countries around the world really care about the United States? Hell no. They are so happy that this country is falling apart. They're so happy. You think Ukraine and Russia really care about the United States? Hell no. The only reason why Ukraine is really basically needed in the United States because nobody else will fucking help that country. Because they know about that fucking country. They used to own that motherfucking country was Adolf Hitler. They know there's a lot of motherfucking still Germans that live in Ukraine that escaped from Russia, straight from Germany to go there. Not just there, they went to Brazil too, but they used to own motherfucking Ukraine, and they used to leave from Germany to go to escape there, and that's where a lot of Germans live. Is in Ukraine. They know this. The United States knows this. They protect them. They're not protecting the United States. Why do you care about another country you're protecting, but you can't protect the own country that you fucking live in? Everybody talk about going to Mars and shit, but you can't even take care of the planet you live on. But people are talking about, oh my God, Ukraine. Oh my God, we gotta talk about the Jewish country of Israel. And all. But why do we care? They're not over there worried about us. They're not helping us. They're not giving us billions of dollars. They're not bringing in jobs here in the United States. They're not doing it. You see Putin bringing any jobs to the United States? Do you see Ukraine trying to help the United States? No, he's begging for help. You see all these other countries that are actually trying to keep themselves from going to war care about the United States? Nobody cares about this country. Basically, they're laughing at this country because of the president of the United States that we have here, and our government is so fucked up, and all the Republicans and Democrats are fighting like they're little bitches over what? What are you protecting here? Nothing. There's nothing to protect. That's why the United States steals from every fucking body. They take, and then they want help. But the United States say, oh, well, we gave you this. We need you to help us. They don't need to help the United States because the United States stole everything from everybody. They've been doing it for decades, for generations, stealing, and lying. And this country is built on that. Look what the Europeans did when they came in this country, when they first see the first Native American. Hey, let's take this country from the people that are already here. And matter of fact, let's bring some other people here from another country and make them be servants and let them work. And honestly, not to care nothing about them because we're going to take everything out of the Smithsonian. We're going to make sure that the United States don't look bad, just like the Romans did when they created Christianity, because they didn't want to look so motherfucking bad. So they created the Bible and Christianity to make them not look bad. Then they started blaming the Egyptians and many other cultures for their reckless killing and murdering throughout their history. And not just them, the Greeks And many other ones that did so much violence, they had to change their religion because they didn't want to look bad. So they started blaming everybody the fuck else for their crimes and shit that they have done by starving their people. And now the Germans were like, oh, we got to talk about the Germans because they did something to the Jews. But what about the Africans? People don't know that the Africans were owned by the fucking Arabs. Then they were turned over by the Europeans, not just the Europeans, they were owned by the Dutch and they were owned by the Portuguese. So we went through a lot to go from one part of a country to the next, to stay here and be locked up in this country, and we can't go the fuck nowhere. We can't go back to Africa. Many other cultures could go back to their, where they were born or their country. We can't go nowhere. So this is the reason why I can't stand that white people still have the nerve to try to blame other cultures for shit. Have the nerve to look at us and say it's your fault. No, you can't blame us this time for what you have done to us for 200 fucking years and trying to say slavery wasn't bad. You out of your fucking mind. Go back to the history books that they even show you what they did to black people during slavery, when they used to bring Africans from Jamaica to the South and they used to sell them, when they used to stand them by poles, and they used to have the white man come over there, grab the woman, and put his hands anywhere he wanted to put his hands at. And he did that to children, and he did that to the grown men, and he even raped grown men. You know what I mean? They even raped grown women and children. They separated their families so they will never see their families again, forced them to work all night long, all day long, whipped them, beat them, terrorized them, chased them with dogs and hounds just because they could escape. Or when they tried to escape out to the north so they could fight the war, they were still sending slave catchers after slaves because they wanted to go help fight the war in the north. When they used to escape, and they used to create their own militia of their own town where they had slaves. They created their own militia to keep watch over the slaves so they won't escape. They used to kick in their doors and drag them out of their homes and check their homes and see if they had anything that make them look like they're going to try to escape. And even if they did escape, they were actually treated like shit, torn up by dogs, or if they would die, the insurance company will still pay for a slave being deceased. Now look that fucking up and show me a fact check if I'm fucking wrong. They used to chase slaves across the fucking country. They used to fucking have slave catchers. Used to have sheriffs. Used to have police. They used to have all different type of people chasing. Even people that they will pay on the side to chase slaves that never chased a slave before will go out there and get paid to go and chase a slave. And when they catch them, and even if they died, the insurance company would pay for their death. So the insurance company had to stop doing that because a lot of the slave catchers will kill the motherfucking slave that they caught and try to say, oh, well, we didn't mean to kill him or kill her or kill the child. So do we still get paid? So the insurance company will still have to force to pay the slave catcher even though he brought a dead person home to the slave master. Now, fact check that bitch. Since a lot of y'all motherfuckers like the fact check slavery. Fact check that and see how slavery really was. And people want to talk about, oh, slavery wasn't bad. You're out of your fucking mind. Slavery was the worst thing that a black person ever been in his life. Even after slavery, a lot of them didn't even know they were fucking free after the abolishment of slavery, which they praised in Lincoln, which Lincoln didn't free the fucking slaves because all the slaves were still in captivity after they emancipated. At the emancipation, they still had a lot of motherfucking slaves still in bondage. After the fucking war, it took them years to even find out that they were freed. And a lot of them didn't want to leave because they were afraid to go out there to see the new world. Because they were afraid they're going to be recaptured and re-put back in slave chains, which they fucking did. Talk about slavery was just, like it says in the Bible. And a lot of people believe that slavery should have kept on going because they didn't believe that black people were smart enough to live a life like a white man. But they never got a chance to because the white man wouldn't allow black people to actually go out there and be human. Even when they were set free, black people couldn't live free because they didn't have no identity and they didn't have no green card and it wasn't even considered as citizens. Then they had to roam around, then they got locked up, thrown in jail, and forced to be back as free slave labor. Like, come on, you believe slavery was great? What these motherfucking white people really want to believe that slavery was not dangerous as it was used to be, even though you can even go back to the Arabs, the way they used to chop off the black man's penis. They used to incarcerate them and force them to be fucking guards. Like, come on, because they won't be able to have sex with the women. Like, are you fucking serious? Slavery was so bad. And it was bad to black people because black people were treated far worse than Jews. But they want to sit there and say that they wasn't. That's why they created the Bible to say that the Egyptians treated Jews bad. They know that the Romans were the ones that treated Jews bad, not the Egyptians, because the Egyptians didn't have slaves. They knew that. They knew that shit, but they wrote it down anyway, and they made people believe that shit. But when they go back to talking about slavery in America, which was all over the country, it even was hidden after 1808, after the last ship was destroyed, and they found the ship that was the last slave ship that was brought to America that was destroyed. Then they try to hide that shit. Now they're trying to have this motherfucking dickhead president try to hide the fact of slavery. Try to make slavery look like it never happened. Like it was no slave ships. They were like slaves wasn't, they don't have slaves all over the place, buried everywhere, in unmarked graves. Or they force them to war and make them be the head of the head of being shot and killed so the whites can be protected. But even though blacks wanted to do it because they feel like, well, we're American, we should be able to do these things. But I believe black people wanted to just escape. They didn't want to be around anymore because they were terrorized by their slave owners, knowing that even if they go back home, they will never ever be looked at as citizens. So blacks said, you know what, we're going to put on the military outfit and we're going to go out there and fight. But I know I'm going to die, and I'm going to die proudly. And they did die proudly because a lot of the white motherfuckers sat there and watched them die and didn't do anything about it. And didn't even care. And they say they fought for black freedom. No, they fucking did not. They fought for keeping slavery just because that's what the South wanted. The North was trying to end slavery because they wanted people to start working. They wanted to bring factories. They wanted to bring railroads. They wanted people to work. They wanted to make money. But they wanted to make money but not having slaves because they believe that nobody should be slaved. But the South, they wanted to keep slavery going. So that's what they did. They just kept slavery going. Even though blacks were fighting in the war, and I keep telling people during the Revolutionary War, during 1776, during all these Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and all this bullshit was written, blacks were still slaves. We were not free during that time. We didn't get free until 1865. So think about that. Long before slavery was abolished, blacks were still in bondage. When the Constitution was written, when the Declaration of Independence was written, blacks were still slaves. You had the 4th of July. You had all these independent bullshit going around. Blacks were still servants. While whites were celebrating, drinking, getting drunk, doing anything they fucking wanted to while blacks were still slaves. But Donald Trump want to make it look like that didn't fucking happen. While we're celebrating Labor Day, we're celebrating 4th of July, while we're celebrating Independence Day, I keep telling black people, just remember your ancestors were still fucking in slave chains when 4th of July came around, or Thanksgiving came around, or when Christmas came around, or many of these other fucking holidays that like Valentine's Day and fucking Easter, we were still fucking slave chains. And we're up there celebrating it now like the independence was for us. It was never independence for black people because we were still in slave chains, walking around trying to figure out why the fuck that we can't be free and why God is not doing anything to help us become free. We're up there still serving our masters while they're up there celebrating Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day, Easter. They're celebrating why our ancestors were still up there in slave chains. But black people are still celebrating the same holidays that the white people celebrated when we were in bondage. That's why I don't celebrate these holidays. I don't give a fuck about Christmas. I don't give a fuck about Easter. I don't give a fuck about Thanksgiving. I don't give a fuck about 4th of July. I don't give a fuck about Independence Day. I don't give a fuck about none of these days because my ancestors were still slaves. Y'all care about that stuff because it's something to be celebrating like it's for us. The Constitution was never written for us. Declaration of Independence wasn't written for us. Yes, they probably put a little paragraph in there for black people as soon as they freed them. Everybody should be treated equally. Motherfucker, why didn't they talk about that 200 years before that? What happened to our freedom and what happened to all that shit 200 years before that? Why we wasn't celebrating that shit 200 years before that? No, we wasn't celebrating any of that bullshit. We were sitting there trying to wondering why the fuck we can't get out of slavery. While they're up there eating and drinking, getting drunk and partying, while we're sitting up there saying, yes, master, yes, master, yes, master, yes, master. That's all we were doing. We wasn't celebrating with them. We wasn't celebrating 4th of July. We couldn't even get married without our slave masters watching us be married. We couldn't even have children without the slave catcher or the slave master standing there watching a black woman give birth. We had no freedom. None, zero. But we celebrate these holidays like these holidays were made for us. Like, come on with that bullshit. 200 fucking years, dog. 200 years. And you might as well add on the years now because we are still fucking slaves. Only thing we don't do is work on a plantation. Basically, honestly, we do because we go to work every day working for someone. That means we're still working on a plantation. Even though we're getting paid, but we still have to go to the plantation to work. That's part of us being still slaves. And black people are treated the worst. And they will always will be treated the worst. For the next 200, 300 years, we are still going to be looked as non-desirable. And we're going to be the ones forced out this country because we are the most hated. And it's just fucking facts. People don't want to believe. People want to just justify, oh, it happened. So what? Move on. No. Why can't people move away from 9/11? Why can't people move away from the First World War, the Second World War, or Vietnam? Why can't people move away from that shit? Why do black people have to move away from slavery? Why do we just gotta forget it? But you won't forget 9/11. You won't get World War One, World War Two, the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, or the Mexican War, or any of these other wars that these white motherfuckers fought. But you can't forget them. But you want us to forget how they treated us. And you want us to forgive. We don't need to forgive nobody. Because number one, it wasn't our choice to be slaves. Y'all put us in that position to be slaves. Because y'all could have let us go a long time ago before 1808. They could have abolished slavery. Any other president besides Lincoln could have abolished slavery. And slavery wouldn't exist in America. And blacks and whites probably would have gotten along. But never got a chance to until 1808 till they abolished slavery in 65. But it didn't really do any fucking thing. It just got white people to hate black people even more and go after black people even harder by taking everything from us and not letting us build a Mecca for our own. Because if we would just built a Mecca for our own, we would have just left white people alone. But now we are supposed to be civilized with this group, which was forced upon by Martin Luther King. We didn't need to be in this position because we were making money without no help. Now we have everything taken away from us, and now we have to try to figure out getting money, getting a job, having a home, having a car, which is so hard for black people because the younger generation don't understand the past. And Donald Trump is trying to erase that so nobody can remember of what blacks have been through ever since the civil rights movement after slavery. But he wants us to forget. But he don't want us to forget 9/11. He doesn't want us to forget any other fucking type of shit that happened in this country, which has nothing to do with black people. But they want us to not forget. Hold on for a second. Like I said, I have nothing. I have no problem with America. I love America. But the thing I have a problem with this country is that we're never going to get along. Sorry, I don't have no shirt on. It's hot as shit in here. Let's turn the air conditioner on. But I think that this country is turning around for failure. We have not that long for the next president to become in office. And we're not doing anything about it. We're just sitting here twiddling our thumbs, hoping that the government is going to change. It's going to start doing right for us. It's not going to happen. It's called a power struggle. And this power struggle has been going on for a very long time. And this power struggle is not going to stop. Because you got two different parties trying to put their king in office. And the next few years, it's going to be more difficult to take, these Republicans out of office, and it's going to be like fucked up. And they could do anything that you don't understand. They could do anything they fucking want because the American people are not doing anything about it. We're just standing there twiddling our thumbs, waiting for help, waiting for God, waiting for Jesus. We're waiting for a religion to come save us. Like, we should be waiting for no fucking religion to come save us. We should try to save ourselves because this is what humans are supposed to do, is save them fucking selves. You know what I mean? Besides waiting for God to come out and open up the gates of heaven and come out and say, okay, it's been 2,000 years. It's time for me to come down here and straighten this shit the fuck out. No, we should be straightening our own selves out because these motherfuckers are not going to stop doing what they want to fucking do to America. It's what's just destroyed this country little by little, piece by piece. And if you want to stand here and just let that happen, that's going to be the citizens' fault of this country. I blame the citizens for what the shit's going on in this country because we could have stand up for ourselves long before. Trump should have never been in the fucking office if we would have stood up a lot harder. But we didn't because we didn't want a woman in office. That's the most dumbest shit in the world. If we would have just said, you know what, let her have her chance in office and see what she could do. We could have had a woman in office for the very first time. It could probably have been for 2 years. She probably would have been impeached. We don't know. She probably would have did something fucking stupid. But we never gave her a fucking chance. We could have did the same thing to Hillary, but we never gave her a chance because they were so afraid of a woman, a masculine woman, really, that she was, become president of the United States, or because of her husband. Because he was president. Then you got a woman that actually wants to try to change the United States to make it different. No, you didn't want that woman in office. You wanted some dumbass to come out of nowhere because he had this type of shit coming out his mouth, making up lies, telling stories, and everybody knows Donald Trump is a fucking actor because if you don't know Donald Trump from the 80s or even the early 70s, the late 70s, something fucking wrong with you. Like, I was like a young boy when Donald Trump was around. I used to see Donald Trump all the time on TV. He was a fucking actor. He was really good at selling points. He was a great entrepreneur. But you knew that this man wanted to be something greater. He wanted to get in the office so he could take control of everything. Now this man is like 79 fucking years old. He's the president of the United States. Twice. And I'm like, please don't elect this motherfucker being. Please don't put this man in office. And they did anyway. And this is the reason why I don't vote. Because my vote don't count. It don't. Zero. It doesn't count. Because I could put my thing for Harris and she still would never got elected. Trump would have been elected. Regardless, she lost the voting soon as it came on fucking TV. She already knew that she lost. Because, they wanted Donald Trump to be president again because he was promised the seat. When he got kicked out of office the first time, he was promised to be president again because the pandemic was something that he could not actually fucking deal with. So they needed somebody that could deal with the pandemic. So that's the reason why they got Biden in office. Because they couldn't get Obama back. And they couldn't get anybody else because nobody was running. So they had to get somebody that was close to the other president. They got motherfucking Biden. Biden didn't even know what the fuck he was doing either. He got old. They kicked him out. Now they got Trump in. Trump is old. They about to kick his ass out because he might not be around long. And you're going to have a younger motherfucking man in office. He's going to be 35 fucking years old. And he's going to be the president of the United States, and he's not going to even know what the fuck to do with himself either because he doesn't know how to run a country. And that's what you're going to have to be really afraid of when you get Vince in office, because Vince doesn't know how to run a country because he's young and he doesn't know anything about politics. Even though he's in the politics, but he doesn't really know the seat of being a president. That's going to really, really fuck himself up when he becomes the leader of the country. And people are really going to see the downside of misery when this man become president. Because you already got one that's causing misery to the public now, named Donald H. Trump. And this man's going to be far worse. Because he's younger. He think he knows everything. He think they can talk over everybody and do whatever he want. Now, a lot of people don't know about vice presidents because they don't have a lot of power. But vice presidents do have a little bit of power. And when they become president, they actually become a little bit they become a little bit useful because a lot of the presidents that are vice presidents will know a little more than the regular presidents because they have to be taught if the president is about to die or the president's impeached. They have to, that's what they did to Biden. When Biden was vice president, they had to teach him how to be president because he didn't know what it was like to be president. He don't know what it's like to be anything in power. He was in office once, but he never been in office like big time office. So they had to teach him before they kicked Trump out. And then Biden started to learn a little slowly about being president because he had Obama sitting next to him, teaching him. Now, if something happens to fucking Donald Trump, who's going to teach Vance how to be president of the United States? Who's going to teach him? How he's going to learn? He's not going to be able to learn because the man that was supposed to teach him is gone. So we got a lot on our plate, dog. I think right now that we should be very, very nervous the next few years because it's going to be out of hand, dog. And the way this country's run now, it's absolutely terrible. And like I said about these young generations, I'm gonna end it on this note. The younger generation of white kids, they're going to be getting out of hand because they feel that this country used to be a white country. That's what they believe. They believe this country was always a white country. This country was never a white country. It was a Christian country, but it was still a mixed country because you had the Native Americans and the Africans and many other cultures coming into this country. So this country was never built on being a white country. No country is a white country, really. So I don't know where they get this from. Trying to make this country white again. You can't make this country white again because this country was never white. So the thing about it is now, this younger generation is really going to believe that they can make this country white again. So they're going to try to take out the people that are in their way that are not white. And like I said, what Hitler used to do, when Hitler left a lot of things in people's mind about the way, he wanted to treat people and how he wanted to exterminate people, Donald Trump is going to be the same way. He's going to leave a lot of shit in people's heads, even though if he passes away, he's going to leave a lot of shit in people's heads. It's going to be a lot of this young generation. Or it's going to be a lot of the older generation talking to their kids, saying, we had a great president, he did this, and this, and I want you to go out there and do the same motherfucking thing. And these kids going to be like, all right, mom, all right, dad, all for you. And they're going to go out there and do some stupid ass shit, like they're doing right now with these guns. Stop blaming black people for carrying guns around and shit like that. But you're seeing that it's not. You're not seeing it as much. You're seeing these kids, these white privileged kids, having their mom and dad buy them guns. Like, it's crazy and it's fucking horrible. To see a white kid smiling, that's some scary shit. Seeing a white kid smile with a semi-automatic and putting two peace fingers up and, having a fucking swastika on their shoulder or having hate on their forehead, saying they hate the world, and they're talking about they want to go and terrorize a school or a church. It's crazy. Why do you want your kid to be that way? Because you live in a fucking country that's really honestly not even ours. But really honestly, if we really think this country is ours, why can't we keep it at peace? Why we need to go out there and hurt other people because you don't like my motherfucking president? Which is the most craziest thing to think about, that these kids are actually going out there hurting other people because their mom and dad is mad because somebody don't like their president. They're out there hurting people. Kids, they're going after little kids. Little 12, 13-year-olds in elementary school or even in high school or even in college. They're going after these kids for no reason over some hate rhetoric and shit. Like, they just, They just don't want. They just don't. They just hate themselves, man. They can't find a girlfriend. They're alone. They're on drugs, or their parents don't want to be around them, or their parents are separate. And like I said, white people go through the same thing as black people do, and many other cultures. They go through the same motherfucking thing: loneliness, depression, anxiety, mental bullshit. They go through the same fucking thing. They commit suicide. They do things. They do drugs. They do alcohol. They do the same things normal people do, but it's not actually shown on TV like you will see in a ghetto, that you see kids running down a block, shooting up a block. Oh, they shot up a block. Let's videotape this. Oh, what about these kids that shot up their family? Oh, don't worry about that shit. We don't need to show that. You got kids killing their own family for money. White kids killing their own family for money. I mean, or just bored and they wanted to shoot their parents because they were bored. Or they didn't like the way their mom said something to them about cleaning their room, or washing the dishes. Or the father says, listen, you gotta go and work. Oh no. Dad, you can't tell me that. Boom! Next thing you know, they get arrested. They pretend like, oh my God, I shot my dad. I don't mean to, man. Why you shoot your dad? Because he told me I need to get a job and I need to go and make my own money, and I didn't want to do that, so I killed him. And the kid got the kid smiling in the background like, yeah, I did a good job, didn't I? But that kid's probably not going to do life in jail. He probably going to do 2 years or probably a year and get out on good behavior. Or Donald Trump will pardon him because he's a white kid. It's sad. Like, I really looked at the new generation as being the next generation that will lead and point us to the right direction, because my generation X, we tried to lead the millennials. Millennials didn't listen, so they treat their kids like their kids are like fragile and shit. Because like I said, my generation really went through some real rough shit, to try to teach the millennials how to raise their kids. But they say, you know what? No, I'm not raising my kids like how your mom and your dad raised you. I ain't gonna beat my kid. I ain't gonna punish my kid. I'm gonna take his Xbox, but I'm not gonna punish him like, like y'all used to do when y'all used to beat y'all kids in a supermarket, or beat your kids just because y'all kids, say something little smart and a mom gets mad, smacks the shit out of you. I'm not gonna do that to my kid. I'm gonna treat my kid with goodness. I'm gonna teach my kid about God and many other things. I'm gonna teach my kid, so I don't have to put my hands on my kid and discipline my kid. Now you want to know why these kids are going to fucking jail? Because these kids are not disciplined. Period. These kids need their asses whipped. I mean, they need their asses whooped to the point that you start seeing some redness on their skin. Because when we were growing up, back when we had discipline. It was called discipline. Regardless of our moms didn't even put our hands on us, they gave us that look. We knew to shut the fuck up. We knew not to touch nothing. When our moms told us, if you go in the store with me, don't touch nothing, don't look at nothing, don't ask me for nothing, don't even look at the shit. We followed our mom's direction. Our fathers did the same thing. Our fathers told us not to do something. We didn't do it because we know the dad was going to beat the shit out of us if we did some dumb shit. And we didn't want to be embarrassed in front of our friends or be embarrassed in front of the public when our fathers used to take their hands and slap the shit out of us. And it wasn't slapping us because we were bad. We were being slapped because it's called discipline. You're not supposed to talk back to your parents. You're not supposed to put your hands on your parents. You're not supposed to be. It says honor. Even it says about honor thy mother and thy father, and thy day will be longer. But these kids don't give a fuck. They will talk shit to their mom, dad, grandma, aunt, grandmother, and they won't do nothing to them. They're like, oh, they're just kids. No, let that happen to me when I was a kid, saying something smart to my mom. My mom will slap me so hard, I will actually forget who the fuck I was. I will actually get amnesia from my mom slapping the shit out of me. Because it's no way that you should talk any type of disrespect to your mom. Even my grandmother or my grandfather or my uncle or any of my family members will slap the shit out of me for me getting smart with my mom. But these kids today, oh my God, they're just kids. They're just playful. They're just saying things because that's what kids do. No, they fucking don't. Kids could never ever condone being disrespectful to their parents, not even to their grandmom, not even to their grandfather, not even to any other family members. They should be protecting their family members. They should be actually listening to their mom and dad. When their mom says no, you should say, okay, mom. Dad say no, okay, dad. But no, these kids get away with anything. That's why these kids are violent. That's why you see violence on TV. Look at the 90s. People want to say, oh, kids were violent. No, kids were violent. Yes, they were, but they wasn't violent towards their mom and dad. They were violent to other people. These kids are violent to their mom and dad. Talking to their mom any way they want to. Trying to fight their father. You know, trying to think if they're adults and they're 14, 15 fucking years old, or 12 or 13 years old, thinking they can have children at any type of age, and thinking they can raise children by themselves. No, they never had raised a child in their fucking life. You got young kids being baby fathers, you got young girls being baby moms, and they're fighting each other because, you know, they want to pretend like they care about supporting the child, which they really don't give a fuck. This is the way we are living in this country today, and it's so fucked up, man. I'm telling you the truth, and I'm seeing it how I'm seeing it through my eyes every motherfucking day. I'm not living through social media. I'm living through, because I was born in a time that, I was born in the 70s, so I'm 50 years old. So I've seen shit, and I've seen moms and dads terrorize their kids once they kids like say no. No, mom, what you say? That's it. The child is going to get jumped by the mom and dad. The mom will beat them first, then they wait for daddy to come home. And if daddy don't come home, grandpa will come home and beat the shit out you. If the brother come home and find out that you were getting smart with his mother, he will beat the shit out of her. Even the daughter, oh, you getting smart with mom? No, that ain't happening. She will beat the shit out of you. Today, kids don't do, these parents don't do that. The brothers and sisters don't do that. The grandmom and the grandfather don't do that because they're so fucking young. And they're raising kids, to be grown. And they're having problems of the father not being in a child's life, or the mother disowning their child because they don't know how to raise a child. They're making these videos about how is deadbeat moms. Do you know if deadbeat moms are basically that they're talking about they're in their 20s to their 30s? They're not talking about the ones that actually raised the fucking children years ago, like Generation X's. They don't talk about them. They talk about the younger generation. Oh, she's 30 years old. She got 3 kids. But you never hear anybody talk about a 50-year-old with 3 kids, because the 50-year-old already raised their motherfucking kids. They're already fucking adults. But you always hearing it, oh my God, fathers are not in their child's lives and shit like that. Of course, because you got kids raising kids. You got men that don't know anything about children because they wasn't raised to raise kids. The mother probably was taught to raise children because at a young age, girls are taught to take care of babies. Men are not. We are out there playing with Tonka trucks, riding our bikes, chasing girls. That's what we did. We didn't worry about taking care of no fucking. It was our little brother and probably our little sister. Of course, yes, we're gonna be babysitting, but babysitting is nothing like raising your fucking child. And which they really think these men need to just go out and do, thinking they need to know how to do that, which these kids don't know. These grown men don't know how to take care of kids because they wasn't raised to take care of kids. They wasn't programmed to take care of kids. We are programmed to do other fucking shit. To work, to make money, to take care of a family, but to take care of family when we're older, not when we're 14 fucking 15 years old or in our early 20s. We're learning, we have to learn how to be fathers. Because the daughter, I mean the mother already knows how to be a mother. The father don't know how to be a father. When you ever, do tell me when a man actually knows how to be a father. When that baby comes out the womb, the man is probably twiddling his thumbs around trying to figure out how am I going to raise this fucking child when I got 3 other fucking kids at the age of 20 or the age of 21 or 30. But you got grown men like me that has a daughter that's 21, which I raised my daughter ever since birth. Didn't know how to be a father. I'm still learning to be a father, even though my daughter's 20 fucking 1 years old. I'm still learning to be a dad. And I'm in my daughter's life. But the thing is that a lot of men don't know how to do that, because it's not because you're a lame man and don't know what you're doing. It's just we were never taught to be fathers. We were taught to be something else. And then when we have children, we have to learn how to be fathers. And it's not easy to just jump in to be a dad. Oh, I'm just going to be a father. Okay, it's easy. It's the fucking hardest shit to do is raise a child. The mother can take the child and go to fuck somewhere else and raise it into an adult. You give the child to the father needs help to raise that child into an adult, because it still needs a nourishment from a woman. So that's why the mother will always be around, or the grandmother will always be around to help. A girl could take the daughter or the son and raise it by itself. A man can't do that. A man always going to need help. The woman needs help, that the father be there to actually protect the child. But if the father's not there, the mother has to protect the child. She has to be the head of the household, which she is the head of the household, because the father could walk out the child's life anytime he fucking wants to. He don't have to stay in the child and the mother's life if he doesn't want to. He could just say, okay, it's time for me to get the fuck out of here, and leave. But the mother has to stay in that child's life forever. Even if she wanted to give it up for adoption, it's hard for her to give it up for adoption, because she's going to feel empty giving that child away. I don't give a fuck what type of mother you think that a mother will actually hate their child. I don't think mothers hate their child. It's just some mothers just don't know what to do once a child comes out their womb. But they do, because they were taught how to raise kids, because they played with baby dolls and Barbies. They used to dress their baby dolls in different clothes and push their baby carriages around, so they know what to do when they are fucking having this child in their arms. A father don't know what the fuck to do. Yes, we can hold our child, love our child, but that's the only thing we understand. We don't understand nothing beyond that. We can't just go out there and buy diapers or buy formula, or we need the mother's help for that shit. We need probably our mother's help for that, or our grandmother's help for that, because we don't know how to just run out there and buy formula. We don't know how to run out there and buy baby clothes. We don't know how to run out there and take our babies to the hospital when it's an emergency, when a child is sick. We don't know none of that shit. The mom does. We don't. We're learning because the mother's trying to teach us. And we're not around for the mother to teach us. We're never going to learn how to be fathers, because the mother teaches the father how to become a father, not the father teaching the mother how to become a mother. That's not how it works. It's the mother that teaches the father how to be a father, because she has to teach him, because the father don't know what the fuck to do when the baby's in his arms. They just look at the baby. Oh my God, what else I need to do? I don't want to drop it. You get a baby bottle. They don't know how to put the baby bottle in the baby's mouth. The mom has to teach the father how to hold the child, how to hold the head, how to put the baby's bottle in the mouth. The father don't know how to do that shit. The mom has to teach the father that. The grandmother has to teach the father that. That's why the woman has the child, and the man stands behind the woman and the child to protect them, while the mother takes care of the child. Not the other way around. The father's not the one bending over, taking care of the child. It's the mother. Period. That's why I defend mothers. Because men don't know what women go through to take care of a fucking kid when it comes out that little ass fucking hole of their vagina to become a fucking adult. The father can leave anytime it wants to. He can just pack his bags and leave. And leave the mother to take care of the responsibilities of being a mom. They'll probably have to bring other men in her life because she's alone. Women don't want to be a fucking alone, just like a man can just go out there, have sex with many other women, have babies from other women, and men don't talk about it. But they'll say women have all these baby fathers, but men have more kids than women do. Because the man has to produce the sperm in order to have a child. So the man can go out there and have sex with all these women while the baby mom is still taking care of your son. And the man will blame, oh, it's her fault, because I didn't want to be with her no more because she wasn't doing anything. She wasn't showing me this, or this. because we are so wanting more from a woman that a woman can give us. Because once the child is born, us men, we get jealous because we're not getting that same love that a child will get from his mother that we used to get before she had her child. We used to get that same love. Now we don't get that same love. Now we feel like she's not giving me that same attention. Now the father's mad. Now the father's making videos. Now the father's angry, not giving up the coochie, not being submissive, but not worrying about that the woman has to take care of that child for 18 fucking years. Clothe it, feed it, trying to figure out what school is going to go to, hoping they don't get sick or get some type of disease or virus. You know what I mean? Have to worry about, medical and shit like that. Hoping that she can get some free medical, or not just free medical, some help from probably, somewhere that the father is probably just sitting there laughing. Yeah, I don't need to take care of my responsibility as a father. But now the father's mad because now he's going to be taking a child support court because he's not doing anything to take care of the child. You could blame the mother for taking the father to child support court, but you got to understand the woman doesn't take the father to child support. It's child support that takes the father to child support, because they're the ones that get the letter to you, not the woman. But the woman is always going to get a child support paper from the court if it has a child with your name, your last name on the motherfucking social security card. I mean, on social security or birth certificate. They're going to call the mother and say, well, look, you want to take your father to child support court to get a little bit of money to take care of your kid. The mother ain't going to say no. She's going to probably say yes. Now, child support is chasing you, and you're mad. And so you make videos about how much you hate women because the mother is taking you to court. Or the court is taking you. Child support court is taking you to court. It's just the mother got to show the fuck up. Because sometimes mothers don't even show up. So they don't even want the child support from the father. But sometimes the woman does show up and do get money from the father. And the father's mad and angry. How dare she take me to court? Blah, blah, blah. I hate her. She's this, and this. I hate the way the country's built, dog. I hate that the fact is that you see in a lot of younger generation of men, they're turning their backs on life. They thinking that they need to stick their chests out and pull out a gun and shoot everybody to make them look tough. They gotta be gang affiliated or pretend to be gang affiliated. They gotta pretend to be something that they're fucking not. Because they want to be looked at as adults because they're young. You don't want to be a fucking adult. I'm sorry. You rather want to stay a child. Because I'd rather be a child now than I was back when I was younger. Because even though that I missed my younger years because my best years was my teenage years. But you don't want to be an adult right now. You want to stay a child. But these kids today, they want to grow up so fucking fast. They think that they need to grow up, to be adults, to be on their own. But they don't know how fucking hard it is just to wake up every morning to hope that your bills are paid. Hoping that you got some good medical if you end up in a hospital. Or you got food in your refrigerator. You know what I mean? You have to go to your mom's house and ask your Mom, can you please cook me something? Because I got nothing in my refrigerator. Because I think mothers should end that shit. If you want to be an adult, you're going to be an adult. I ain't cooking for you. I ain't cleaning for you. I ain't washing your clothes. I ain't doing nothing. I'm not letting you do the shit that you're supposed to do on your fucking own because you are grown. My daughter already knows that. My daughter doesn't even ask for help from nobody because she's very independent. And I love that about her because the one thing about being an independent woman is being a strong woman. And a lot of women want to be submissive to these dumbass boys that want to put their penis in everybody and get pregnant with all these females thinking that's the right thing to do in the world and not become men and not be able to protect and be responsible as a husband or a father to their child or children. They just want to be grown because they're thinking that, hey, if I pretend I'm grown, I can do anything I fucking want. And that's not the way it works. I'm out of here, man. Peace to everybody. Bless you.